Hare Krishna. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chaksurunmilitam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Juta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavam Cha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Shahagana Ragunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savaritam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Visakan Vitam Cha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopisa Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namaste Tapta Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Garadhara Sivasadi Gaurabhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. So welcome back to our class. In the previous class, we have discussed the vision of a true yogi. So the yogi always see everybody with the equal vision because he sees the soul as well as the super soul within the heart of every living entity. Therefore, he sees whether the cows, the brahmanas, the elephant, dog, even the dog eaters, in the equal with the equal vision. Yeah. So, having thus discussing that, we gradually come to the point that how to obtain such a position by which we can see everybody as the Paramatma. So today's discussion will cover that. So here in this, the first part of our discussion, Krishna introduces the Dhyana Yoga. So Dhyana means meditation. So mostly the yoga, they are performing meditation in order to uh, achieve this consciousness. So meditating upon the super soul. So here 27 to 29, chapter 5, Introduction to Dhyana Yoga and the Peace Formula. Yeah. So text number 27 and 28. Setting all external senses, external sense object, keeping the eyes and vision concentrated between the two eyebrows, suspending the inward and outward breath with the nostrils, and thus controlling the mind, senses, and intelligence. The transcendentalist aiming at liberation becomes free from desire, fear, and anger. One who is always in this state is certainly liberated. So this is how a yogi who is meditating upon the Paramatma. Of course, this process nowadays is not very practical. So even Arjuna later he will say that Krishna will give the advice by which he can attain the perfection through practicing the Astanga Yoga. But even Arjuna said that it is very difficult So Arjuna is a very advanced person, yet he rejected this Astanga Yoga process that Krishna uh, proposed to Arjuna. So what to speak of nowadays, this process is, practically speaking, it is impossible. It is impractical. Yeah, because like here, if we see that we have to sit like very straight and controlling the breath, and that means we have to sit for long time. Nowadays, people very restless, very restless. Mm. When you don't move, you feel like so much disturbed, so much disturbed. I was told by one yoga teacher, he's devotee. So he said that when we are practicing, when people are practicing this kind of meditation, like sitting in a straight posture, controlling the breath, and finally they close their eyes and fall asleep. Unless they fall asleep, when they fall asleep only, then they will not move. Otherwise, they will always look somewhere and scratching the back, scratching parts of body, because it's very tough, it's very difficult to stay still, to stay still and move. It's impossible. Therefore this method is rejected by Arjuna. We will see that later. Okay, so this is about the yogi who has the vision, like what we discussed in the previous class. Vidya Vinaya Sampani Brahmaniga Vihasti. So he sees the Paramatma. This is the process by which we can obtain the Paramatma. The practice of mysticism or yoga, known as Astanga Yoga, which is divisible into an eightfold procedure called Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, and Samadhi. So we will discuss into much detail what are these eight processes. So Yama means, Yama is social behavior, how you treat others and the world around you. These are moral principles. Sometimes they are called the don'ts and thou shalt not. So there are 5 yamas. The first one is that non-violence. So basically, yama means just being nice, social behavior. This is called yama. Okay, there is nothing spiritual here actually in this process. Yama, it's just a moral ethic, social behavior. But of course, when we see in the from the Krishna consciousness point of view, we can make everything transcendental. For example, here, yama, there are 5 yamas. The first one is that non-violence or ahimsa. Well, for people in general, ahimsa means not killing or not hurting somebody else. But Srila Prabhupada explained that non-violence means to preach Krishna consciousness. Yeah, to preach Krishna consciousness. That is the real meaning of non-violence. Prabhupada explains. That's why Narad Muni mentioned Daya Sarva Bhuteshu. So always having this compassion within our heart, Daya Sarva Bhuteshu, to all living entities. And the best thing that we can offer, that we can do, the manifestation of our compassion is to preach Krishna consciousness, and more specifically, the chanting of the holy name in public. So the Sankirtan movement, because that will benefit the whole world, everybody. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to Gaya and he took initiation from Ishwarapuri, so he got the instruction from his spiritual master, Nache Gau Bhakta Sanghe Kuru Sankirtan Krishna Nam Upadesh Dara Sarvajan. So Ishwarapuri Ishwarapuri Maharaj, he just told Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, nature, to dance, nacho gao and sing. Dance, sing, and bhakta sangi. Dance, sings in the association of the devotees. And then Krishnanam Upadesh, and ask people. That means ask people to chant the holy name also. That means we are chanting in the public. Krishnanam Upadesh Tara Sarvajan. So in that way you can deliver everybody in this world. Tara Sarvajan, everybody. So simply by hearing the kirtan in the street, people get a lot of benefit. You know, in the Chaitanya Bhagavad by Vrindavan Das Thakur. So it is described how actually these two persons, Jaga and Madai, they got delivered. What are pious activities that they have been done? Because unless you perform some little pious activities, you cannot come to Krishna consciousness. There must be a cause. There must be a reason. Of course, in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Kaviraj Das Goswami, he did not elaborate a lot on this pastime of Jaga and Madai, because Kaviraj Das Goswami mentioned that I will not repeat whatever Vrindavan Das Thakur have mentioned in Chaitanya Mangal. So this book, actually Chaitanya Bhagavad, is known as Chaitanya Mangal before, but uh, after Srila Lochan Das Thakur, also he wrote one book called Chaitanya Mangal. So this Chaitanya Mangal by Vrindavan Das Thakur renamed and given the name Chaitanya Bhagavat. So therefore, Kaviraj Das Goswami mentioned that I will not repeat whatever already mentioned in Chaitanya Bhagavat. So in Chaitanya Bhagavat, it is described that because Jaga and Madai, they never perform any pious activities. Any pious activities, they never perform. They perform all kind of sinful activities. Even Chitragupta, the head department in the hell, the assistants of Yamaraj, um, getting the service to write the sinful activities of living beings in this world. He he is the head of department and he has 100 men under him, just specifically meant to write the sinful activities that performed by Jaga and Madai. Because Jaga and Madai, they perform like all types of sinful activities. But it happens one day that while they they got drunk. Every day actually they drink alcohol and get drunk. But one day on the street, so Jaga and Madai they were in their house, and then on the street there were performance of kirtan. And then Madai told Jagai that, oh, brother, listen to that kirtan. It's so nice. So what is the tendency when somebody is drunk? So they love to dance, right? Just like here in Mayapur, I experienced many times actually. The people, the people who dance with us, most of them are drunk. And when they chant Hare Krishna, also the smell of their breath is like completely nasty. But then I discussed with my friend in the Harinam team. He told me that if they don't drunk, they will not dance like this. So much ecstasy. So that happened to Jaga and Madai. So they were dancing while they drunk. They were dancing upon hearing the Nagar Sankirtan party. So the only that's the only pious activity that brought that brought them later to get the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So the Sankirtan movement is very, very simple, yet at the same time it is very sublime and infallible. It's never failed. It never failed because simply by hearing the holy name, the chanting of the holy name, one gets liberation, whether in this lifetime or after 1,000 lifetime. But his journey in spiritual life is begins just by chance hearing the holy name. And what to speak if they chant also? Simply by hearing, they get purification. And if they participate in the chanting also, how much benefit will they get? Yathagadam viryatamam upayuktam yadrichayam ajananto pyatma gunam kuryan mantro pyudaharitam. So whether they know what they chant or they don't know, whether they know the benefit of chanting of the holy name or they don't know. Ajananto pyatma gunam. Ajana means they don't know. Guna means quality. Whether they know the quality of the holy names or not, it doesn't matter. Once they chant, they get a lot of purification. So this verse, we find this verse actually in the 6th canto, 2nd chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam. Yathagadam viryatamam upayutam yadrichaya. So just like a sick person, when somebody is diseased and approach a doctor, and the doctor will give some medicine, that person may or may not understand the quality, the power of the medicine, but simply by taking it, even the power of the medicine, or you don't know, you just take the medicine, you will get cured. So the holy name acts like that. You know or you don't know the glories of the holy name, the power of the holy name. You chant, you get purification. That's so that's about ahimsa, non-violence, means to preach Krishna consciousness. And then the second one is that truth and honesty, satyam, satyam. This is the one of the tapasya for the speech actually, truthfulness. Anudvega karam vakyam satyam priya hitam chaya. Swadhyaya vyashanam chaya one maya tapa uchati. So one maya tapa uchati. This is the austerity for the speech. Anudvega karam vakyam. That word emanates from our mouth should be pleasing to others. And also satyam should be truth, honest. Anudvega karam satyam priya hitam chaya. Priya hitam chaya. Pleasing to others. Swadhyaya abhyashanam chaya. And also studying the Vedas. This is also tapasya for the speech. And then non-stealing, asteya. Celibacy, brahmacharya. So brahmachari. There's one devotee told me that nowadays we don't have um, ideal brahmachari ashram. Well, the ashram is there, brahmachari ashram is there, but the ideal brahmachari ashram actually starts from Gurukul. So unless you train yourself in Gurukul since very beginning of your life, brahmachari Gurukule vasandantu gurohitao, dasavan archayaniso guru sudrida suhrida. Prahlad Maharaj in the 7th canto mentioned that brahmachari Gurukule. So brahmachari start from the age of Kumara Machare Pragyu. That's how brahmachari start actually. Not that after you finish university, you get your master degree and you join brahmachari ashram. Well, it's okay, something better than nothing, but still, because you already, some way or other, you got the taste of the association of women, because in the modern educational system, people are mixed. Then most of the brahmacharis finally they get married later on, because you already got the samskara of being in the association of the opposite sex, because especially when you go far away from your parents, nobody supervise you, then okay, after you get your PhD, whatever, then you join brahmachari ashram. It's okay, it's good, still better than not at all. But when we talk about something ideal, so brahmachari means when you start in Gurukul, that's real brahmachari. Because in Gurukul, you don't mix with women, you are trained properly, everything is really favorable. if you really want to be even if you want to be a good grihasta, first of all you have to get nice training in Gurukul, because good brahmachari will create good grihasta. This is the principle. Because in the Gurukul, in the brahmachari ashram, you are trained to be austere, to control your senses. So without such a training, you get married and you end up by becoming grihamedis, because you are not used to live simply, not used to control your senses, and as a result, you just carry on with material life, too much enjoyment. But if you get some training in brahmachari ashram, so you feel like no, this is not to be done like this. So you have the sense, you have the understanding that life should be simple, austere also. Yeah, I have seen many grihasta devotees. They're living very simply, austere, because they are trained in brahmachari ashram before they get married. So that's about brahmacharya. Non-possessiveness. Non-possessiveness means, yeah, you're not claiming that this is belong to me, because the Isavasya principle is applied here. Everything is belong to Krishna. Yeah. And then niyama. Niyama is inner discipline and responsibility, how we treat ourselves. These are sometimes called observance, the do's and the thou selves. There are 5 niyamas. So the first yama is the social behavior, how we act to others, behave to others. And then niyama means about ourselves. It is observance, contemplation. This is called niyama. There are 5 niyamas. Purity. Purity is the force. We heard this. Prabhupada quote this uh, many times. Purity is the force. Preaching is the essence. And then utility is the principle. And what is one more? Books are the basis. So Prabhupada quote this many times. So purity. Purity is force. So second one is that contentment. Contentment, santosh. That means satisfied, somehow or other being satisfied. Sarva bhuteshu santustya yena kenava. So santustya yena kenava. Somehow or other, we should feel satisfied, because, of course, it is the very nature of the senses that not very easily to be satisfied. What is that verse Krishna mentioned? Duspurena nalena cha. Indriyanam. Indriyanam duspurena nalena cha. So the senses, the indriya, very strong and can never be satisfied with any amount of material enjoyment. Can never be satisfied. Only by bhakti, actually, the indriya, the soul within, can be satisfied. And what is bhakti? Bhakti means uninterrupted and unmotivated. That is pure bhakti. Savai pumsam paro dharmo. This very famous verse. Savai pumsam paro dharmo yato bhakti radok saje. Ahai tuki apratihata yayatma suprasidati. So yayatma suprasidati. Only by that method, one will feel satisfied, completely satisfied. Yayatma suprasidati. Savai pumsam paro dharmo yadho bhaktir adoksaji. So by serving adoksaja, Lord Krishna. Adoksaja means the mysterious Lord, because he is not very easily to be understood. Adoksaja. Ahaituki and apradhyata, unmotivated and uninterrupted. That means unmotivated means there is no material motivation. Okay? And uninterrupted, that means satatam, nitya, continues. non-stop. Then only one will get the satisfaction, real satisfaction. Of course, when we try to gratify our senses, up to some degree, the senses will feel satisfied, but then later, the senses will demand again, you know, will demand again. But in bhakti, one will feel satisfied because whom we are pleasing is the Lord, the master of the senses, Rishikesh. When he is pleased, when his senses are satisfied, automatically we also get the satisfaction. Dharma mulam hi bhagavan sarva veda mayo hari. So dharma mula hi bhagavan, because the Bhagavan, the Lord, is the root, dharma mula, the root of all religious principle. So when we go back to that religious principle, finally we will find that Krishna is the source of everything. Then what are our duties? So we do devotional service, we perform devotional service. Dharma mulam hi bhagavan sarva veda mayo harihi smritam chatad vidam rajam yena chatma prasidati. Again, this verse mentioning yena chatma prasidati. So in that way, one will get complete satisfaction. So santosh, satisfaction, austerity, tapa. Again, this is related to the uh, living in the ashram. You know. So the grihasthas also should be austere, not only the sannyas, vanaprastha, and brahmachari, but grihasthas also should be austere, tapasya. Study of the sacred text, swadhyaya, related to the first one in the previous slide. So this is also austerity for the speech, studying of the sacred text. Swadhyaya vyashanam chaiva. Living with an awareness of the divine. So Ishvara Pranidhan. So that means we are meant to be Krishna conscious. So niyama, because we have to contemplate. This is called niyama, contemplation, observance. Somehow or other, we have to be aware that some divine energy is there, and that means Krishna. Krishna is with us. Okay, that's about yama and yama, and then asana. Asana means posture, of course. Vyasan, Vyasasan, asan, Padmasan. So this is posture, and then pranayama, controlling the breath. So control of the breath. Pratyahara, withdrawal of the senses. So now after sitting in a nice posture and then controlling the breath and withdrawal of the senses. So we put our senses inactive. Mhm. Just like the tortoise. When the tortoise doesn't need to use his senses, so he withdraw his limbs, his senses inside his body. And then dharana, concentration, involve teaching the mind to focus on one point or image. So here, mind involved, start the mind involved. And then dhyana. Dhyana means uninterrupted meditation without an object. So that means uh, meditate upon a voidness, which is very, very difficult. This is called dhyana, meditation. Of course, for us, dhyana having different meaning. Dhyana yoga. Dhyana means meditation, basically. And yoga means connecting ourselves to Krishna. So for us, dhyana yoga means we are thinking about Krishna. So for the Mayavadi, dhyana means meditation upon voidness. And then for the yogis, meditation, dhyana means meditation to the Paramatma. And for the bhakta, meditation upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Bhagavan. And then samadhi, absolute bliss. Samadhi means also uh, complete absorption. That's how one get absolute bliss. when one is absorbed in Krishna consciousness, especially absorbed in kirtan, absorbed in hearing. Sometimes we find that, hearing lecture, hearing class is so tedious. It's so boring. It's so tough, especially in the morning hours after Guru Puja, hearing Bhagavatam class. Most of the devotees, just falling asleep. Why? Because they're not absorbing their mind, their attention to the words that emanates from the speaker. So, but for those who always paying attention, they really awake and they feel the bliss. So, one time I tried this method that, okay, let me just go to the class and I want to really hear, I want to relish Krishna Katha, forget about whatever knowledge I have. I just enter the class as if I'm just a fool. I will hear this for the first time. And I was completely awake. And whatever the speaker says related to Krishna, I was like, feeling, oh, yeah, yeah, that's true, that's true. Nice. But when, some other days when my arrogance came upon me, okay, oh, yeah, I know. Actually, he should quote this verse because this verse is related to what he's saying. Okay, okay, I know. So, but when we really just like we are putting our shoes outside the classroom before entering the class, outside the temple, we keep our shoes. That's actually our mentality should be. We keep all whatever knowledge that so-called knowledge that we have behind outside the temple. Enter the temple, enter the class, Srimad Bhagavatam class, sit and listen as if you are hearing it for the first time. Then only you can be, fully absorbed, fully relishing the class. Otherwise, if you have this mentality, as most of the time I myself experience, ah, then I don't get the full benefit of being in the class. Of course, hearing the transcendental vibration, sound vibration is always purifying, but with such mentality, we will not get so much benefit. Anyway, that's about me. Hare Krishna. Okay, Prabhupada continue here. As Krishna conscious person, however, being always engaged in devotional service, does not risk losing his senses to some other engagement. This is a better way of controlling the senses than by the Astanga Yoga. So ultimately, the purpose of the yoga, performing yoga, practicing yoga, is to control the senses, to control the mind. And then Srila Prabhupada mentioned here that a person in Krishna consciousness, because they are always engaged in the service of the Lord, then automatically, without hard effort, they can control their senses. Yada samharate chayat kurmongani vasarvasa indriya nindriyartebhya tasya pragya pratisthita. Second chapter, Krishna explained to Arjuna, just like the tortoise, again, just like the tortoise. Kurmo angani va sarvasaha. So when we don't actually, it is hard to keep the senses inactive unless we are sleeping. Then it is possible. Otherwise, we are so restless, as I mentioned in the beginning. So better way is that uh, by engaging ourselves in Krishna consciousness. So this is a better method than performing the Ashtanga Yoga, Prabhupada mentioned. Yeah. So controlling the senses for us means engaging our senses in Krishna's service. Okay, this is the last verse of the 5th chapter. Bhaktaram yagyatapasam sarvaloka maheshwaram suhridam sarvabhutanam gyatwamam santim richati. This is the peace formula. There are 3 things mentioned here. Bhaktaram yagyatapasam, knowing Krishna to be the ultimate beneficiary of all sacrifices and austerities. Sarva Loka Maheshwaram, that Krishna is the Lord of all planets and demigods. And then Suhridam Sarva Bhutanam, He is the benefactor and well-wisher of all living entities. Gyatva mam santim richati. And those who understand these three things, they will attain peace. They will attain peace. Prabhupada says, a pure soul is the eternal servant of God as his fragmented part and parcel. He comes into contact with Maya illusion due to the desire to lord it over Maya. And that is the cause of his many sufferings. As long as he is in contact with matter, he has to execute work in terms of material necessities. Krishna consciousness, however, brings one into spiritual life even while one is within the jurisdiction of matter, for it is an arousing of spiritual existence by practice in the material world. Yeah. So most of the jivas, actually by nature, the jivas are pure. That's why Srila Prabhupada mentioned here, a pure soul is the eternal servant of God. All of us, all the jivas actually by nature is pure. But somehow or other, we don't get the attraction to serve God. Why? Just like, Krishna is like magnet. And then the jiva is just like small pieces of iron. So it is natural for the iron to get attracted by magnet. But when this iron get, alloyed, mixed with some other material, that means the iron becomes impure, or when the iron becomes rusted. So in that condition, the iron will not get attracted by the magnet. So when we start scratching the rust in the iron, then the rust will go away, and then the original nature of the iron to be attracted by the magnet will manifest. So the soul also like that. The soul is pure actually. By nature it is pure, but by the contact of Maya, material nature, so we become, our pure consciousness becomes covered. So it becomes covered and we can't see. We cannot see Krishna and we cannot get attracted by Krishna. But when we start, Cheto Darpana Marjanam, this process, chanting of the holy name, Cheto Darpana Marjanam, that means scratching the rust in the iron. So this also Cheto Darpana Marjanam, we are cleaning the dirty mirror of our heart. Then only when the mirror is clean, we can see our reflection clearly. That means when our heart is clean, purified by the chanting of the holy names, performing devotional service, then only we can get more attracted by Krishna's quality. The Eightfold Yoga mysticism is automatically practiced in Krishna consciousness because ultimate purpose is serve. Yavan artha udapane sarvata sampluto dake tavan sarvesu vedesu brahmanasha vijanataha. Second chapter, Krishna mentioned that. So, yavan artha udapane sarvata sampluto dake. Just like small, how I translate this? A big reservoir of water will automatically fulfill the needs that is fulfilled by a small reservoir of water. Just like in small well, okay, if you want to get some water in a small well, okay, to drink is enough. But if you want to water big field, for example, you are growing something on the field, vegetables, whatever, so the small well cannot really fulfill that need. But a big reservoir of water like lake will automatically fulfill the need of these wells. So similarly, by practicing Krishna consciousness, actually, any other types of yoga their purpose will be covered by Krishna consciousness practice. Therefore, Srila Prabhupada explaining in the previous purport that, this performance, devotional service in Krishna consciousness is much better than Ashtanga Yoga. Here also Prabhupada mentioned the eightfold yoga mysticism is automatically practiced in Krishna consciousness. Okay? Because the ultimate purpose is serve. What is the ultimate purpose of this Ashtanga Yoga? That is Samadhi. So from Yama, Niyama up to Samadhi. So Samadhi is the goal of Ashtanga Yoga. Samadhi means controlling the mind, complete absorption in the absolute. But devotional service is actually start from Samadhi. It starts from Samadhi. Therefore, Prabhupada mentioned here, we are higher. We are higher than the practitioner of the Ashtanga Yoga. Because when we engage in service of Krishna, automatically we think about Krishna. That means we are already in Samadhi. But this only prefers perfection by devotional service, which alone can award peace to the human being. It is the highest perfection of life. So Prabhupada also mentioned that how one can be happy without being peaceful. So first we have to get peaceful. Being peaceful, and then we'll be happy. Those who are practicing Ashtanga Yoga, their aim is to be peaceful. Samadhi means peaceful, no disturbance. No disturbance means peaceful. But we start from here. We start from here because we understand this, that Krishna is the benefactor of all sacrifices and austerities. Krishna is the owner of everything, all planets. And Krishna is the best friend, the well-wisher of all living entities. Therefore, I must engage in devotional service. So we start on this base. But for the yogis, those who are practicing Ashtanga Yoga, in order to achieve this level, which is the very basic foundation of Krishna consciousness, for them it's really hard. So, therefore, this method will be rejected by Arjuna because it is impractical, especially in the age of Kali Yuga. Yeah. So, devotional service is the easiest, the surest method to attain perfection in life. This is a quotation from Srila Prabhupada's lecture. Just like a father says, my dear boy, why you are acting independently, foolishly, you are suffering. Just surrender unto me. I shall give you protection. Similarly, Krishna is a friend, like a father. He is always asking, and he is going with me in every type of body. A Paramatma, he is doing friendly activities. He is sending his bona fide servant as spiritual master. He is coming as incarnation, and he is coming as a devotee, Lord Chaitanya. He is helping us in so many ways. But we are so foolish that we are not accepting him. Nobody can be better friend than Krishna. But we are so much unfortunate, so much captivated by the external energy that we don't accept Krishna as our friend. You see, Suhridam means one who's always thinking of our, well-being. Is a well-wisher. Therefore, Prabhupada mentioned here that Krishna comes again and again. Krishna comes sometimes directly or indirectly. Indirectly in the form of the Acharya, spiritual master. Directly when he himself comes to this world. Actually, just to establish the religious principles, dharma, by which actually we can come back to Krishna. So Krishna is very eager actually to welcome all of us home, just like a father. Doesn't matter what the children may do, but the father will always eager to see when uh, his children return home. So Prabhupada also mentioned here the spiritual master, the Paramatma manifests as the spiritual master. So the Paramatma is known as the Chaita Guru. He is from within, giving us guidance. And when he manifests himself into a living guru, that's the living guru that we see, spiritual master. So therefore, in one sense, actually, the guru is not different from Krishna. That is the tattva, guru tattva. Those who have taken the ISKCON disciple course discuss a lot about guru tattva. So guru tattva, guru is non-different from Krishna, but at the same time, he is not Krishna. So this is called Achintya Bheda Bheda Tattva. Yeah. So Guru's position is not different from Krishna because he is the representative of Krishna. Okay. I give you a simple example. I think I mentioned this in the previous class, but it doesn't matter. In the fourth chapter, we discussed this, but I'll talk again. So just like the Indonesian embassy in India, for example, here I'm in India, and we have Indonesian embassy in Delhi. So that Indonesian embassy is as good as Indonesia itself. And whatever document that I need, if I need to renew my passport, so I will go there and get it, and people who are working there also from Indonesia. So in one sense, it is Indonesia because it is the representative of Indonesia and as good as Indonesia because whatever I need, it will be done there in Indonesian embassy. But at the same time, it is not Indonesia, it is the land of India. Yeah. So that's actually the position of Guru. Guru is the representative of Krishna. And he is actually non-different from Krishna in that sense because he is the representative of Krishna. Because he is the external manifestation of the Paramatma. So Krishna as Paramatma, as Chaita Guru, the one who gives us guidance from within, and his external manifestation is the living Guru. Therefore, we sing every day, Saksad Dharit Vena Samasta Sastrair Uttastata Bhavyata Eva Sadve. So Saksad Hari, the Guru is Saksad Hari. That means the Guru is directly Lord Hari. So if we contemplate actually whatever song that we sing in Vaisnava Bhajan or our daily prayers, daily temple program, when we contemplate on the meaning of those songs, actually, wow, that's really powerful. So sometimes you just go, okay, but when you really like absorb, the meaning and you saying it, you sing it with your heart, you feel something different. Yeah. So Saksad Hari, when Guru is directly Lord Hari. So like that. Okay, that's we covered the 5th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Before we move to the 6th chapter, whether any question or comments, you are welcome. Okay, there is question here from Nagarjun Prabhu. Then why in the previous yuga it recommended to severe austerities, yagya, big temple worship is recommended? Okay, so in Kali Yuga, the Yuga Dharma is the chanting of the holy names. Then why in the previous Yuga it is recommended? Yes, because their nature still very sattvic. For example, like in Satya Yuga, most of the population in Satya Yuga, they are in Sattva Gun. Therefore, they can sit for long time, long time to perform severe austerities in order to achieve perfection in their life. But in Kali Yuga, you ask people to sit for 1 hour without moving, they cannot do it. So we are influenced here. What is that verse? Manda sumandamatayo manda bhagya hyupadutaha. Prayena alpa yusha sabya kalo vasmin yuge jana Manda Sumanda Matayo Manda Bhagya Hyupadhyuta. This is the symptoms of Kali Yuga people. First, why meditation is not recommended? Because first of all, Prayana Alpa Ayusha, the lifespan of the Kali Yuga people is very short. So to Kritaya Dhyayato Vishnum, Kritaya Dhyayato Vishnum in Satya Yuga. Satya Yuga is also known as Krita Yuga. Kritaya Dhyayato Vishnu. Dhyaya means meditate upon Vishnu. Dhyayato Vishnu. People in Satya Yuga attain the perfection of their life by performing meditation, concentrating their mind upon Lord Vishnu for thousands of years. Kriteya Dhyayato Vishnu. You will attain perfection in your life by meditation after thousands of years only. But in Kali Yuga, it is impossible. Maximum people will live how many years? Okay. If you live up to 80 years, that's considered to be wow. Yeah. So Prayana Alpa Ayusha. Alpa Ayusha means short life. Kalawasmin Yuge Jana. Manda. Manda means lazy. Lazy. Manda. Kriteya Dhyayato Vishnum. Tretayam Yajato Makaihi. Tretayam Yajato Makaihi. Dwapare Paricharyayam. So in the Treta Yuga, they are performing Yagya, and then in Dwapara Yuga, people attain perfection by elaborate deity worship. But Manda, Sumanda Matayo, Manda means lazy. Yeah, the nature of people in Kali Yuga is very lazy, and deity worship is actually, if we talk about real standard of deity worship, that's really high. 16 upacharas, days and that, you have to do days and that. To be pure, first of all, the ingredients should be paka, first class. Then manda sumanda matayo, manda bhagya, manda abhagya, and many people are disturbed, unfortunate. So it is not suiting for the people in Kali Yuga. So that, what is your question again? Why in the previous Yuga? Yeah, in the previous Yuga it is recommended because it is suitable for their mentality, their people's mentality. Like, tapasya, big temple worship, yagyas. Yeah, this is suiting for them because performing yagya. What is yagya means? Real yagyic performance would be what is that? Gokoti danam granam kagasha prayag gangoda kakal pawasam yagya yutam meru swarna dhanam yagya yutam meru swarna dhanam. This is should be done in yagya. What is that? Yagya yutam meru swarna. Swarna means gold. Okay, Swarna means gold, and Meru means Meru mountain. That means when you perform yagya, you have to give donation to each brahmana who present in your yagya, big amount of gold, as big as Meru mountain. Then now we see, even among the devotees, what what is your appreciation for the brahmanas who came to your yagya? Huh? So it is not suiting for the people of Kali Yuga. Yeah. So like that. It's just a matter of which one is fixed with which one is fitting in which yuga. Therefore, it is recommended in the previous yuga only. But still now we find why? Well, one of the reason is that for the preaching purpose. Okay, for the preaching purpose. For example, like Jagya, you know, our priest. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to criticize anybody here, but most of the priests now still looking at the books while performing yagya, uh, chanting some mantras, looking at the books. Um, it may not be very ideal, yeah, but yagya still performed, although there are so many imperfections, and also chanting the mantra. In the sixth canto, it is described why Vritasura appear. Vritasura is meant to kill Indra, but Vritasura, what is Vishwarupa's father's name? Ah, I forgot. This is my Kali Yuga brain. Anyway, Vishwarupa. So the story was like this, just briefly. Interesting, yeah. Sorry, I'm taking a lot of time here. So Indra was offending Brihaspati because when Brihaspati came, Indra did not offer proper respect because he's, full of opulence, sitting on his big throne, thinking that I'm the king of heaven. When Brihaspati came, he forgot to offer obeisances. Forgot to offer obeisances, and then Brihaspati left. And on top of that, also that actually Indra was cursed by Durvasa Muni. So Durvasa Muni came to heaven, uh, and then Indra was sitting on the Airavata elephant. And then, as it is done by the sadhus, senior devotees with garland, so to bless the person to the junior devotee. So the senior sometimes took up the garland and give. But what happened? Durvasa Muni came with garland and gave that garland to Indra, and then Indra did not really appreciate the garland. He gave to the elephant. He gave to the elephant, garlanded the elephant. Now elephant is elephant, animal is animal. So what happened with that garland? He trampled it. Aryavata trampled the garland, and Durvasa Muni became very angry. And Durvasa Muni is not, not a joke Muni. He is very serious. Little offense, he immediately will curse. So he got cursed. Indra got cursed that soon you will be attacked by the demons. Your power will be lost. So like that. That's first one. And second, he offended Brihaspati, his own guru. And then his own guru left. Now his own priest, his guru is his priest. Now he doesn't have priest because Indra's power comes from the performance of yagya. Nobody is there to perform the yagya. So now he approached Vishwarup. Vishwarup. The name of Vishwarup father was Twasta. Now I remember. Twasta. So the son of Twasta. Twasta is a demigod, but Vishwarupa's mother comes from the demons, Aditya and Daitya. So Vishwarup, he has three heads. He has three heads. So he performed. He was approached by Indra to perform yagya, and uh, Vishwarup does like this during the day in the presence of Indra. He does the yagya for the demigods. But still, because Vishwarup's mother from the demon side, he is also thinking of the welfare of the demons. So at night he was performing yagya for the demons. Because from that yagya, Indra gets power. Okay, yogic performance, Indra gets power. But when Indra came to know that he also secretly performing yagya for the demons, so Indra now becomes in anxiety. The demon will become powerful and they may attack at any time and take over the kingdom, heaven. And then immediately Indra took up his Vajra and just severed the three heads of Vishwarupa. Now Twasta, although he's a demigod because his son is killed by Indra, now Twasta performing a yagya by which one big demon will appear and will kill Indra. Okay, so at that time Vritasura appear. So Vritasura appear. Actually, Twasta pray that this demon will kill Indra, but because there was a little spelling mistake while he was chanting the mantra, and what happened? The meaning turned to this demon will be killed by Indra. Instead of this demon will kill Indra, this demon will be killed by Indra. So this yagya, coming back to our discussion about yagya, little mistake, spelling mistake in mantra will change the whole thing. And what to speak when you read books and if you don't know how to pronounce long A and short A. You see this like A with this mark on the top. You should pronounce it longer, like this dhyana yoga, dhyana yoga. not dhyana yoga, but dhyana yoga. So like that. So little mistake, everything will change. That's about yagya. Why we perform? Okay, for the purpose of preaching, for the purpose of preaching, and also daily worship also for the purpose of preaching, although it is not the Yuga Dharma of this age, but for the purpose of preaching, we are doing it because when you perform yagya, people will come around, will see, oh, you are doing bona fide uh, religious activities. And when you do some deity worship in the temple, we have deities, people come to take darshan, and in that situation we take the chance to preach to them. So yeah, they still perform nowadays, and main reason is that for the purpose of preaching. Yeah, because the Yuga Dharma is to chant the holy name, because if you don't have temple, then people will not come to you. For example, here in Mayapur we have really big temple. Prabhupada said the purpose of this temple is to attract people from all over the world to come here. And after come here, don't just let them to take selfie. Okay, take selfies, okay, with big buildings. But main point of their coming here is that we as the devotees who are here in Mayapur, we have to preach to them. So that's the goal. Not simply to show something, not for simply sightseeing, but for preaching. Yeah. Otherwise, if we don't have big temple, if we just chant Hare Krishna under the coconut tree, who will come? People may come and then they will go again. But if you have big temple, nice temple, okay, people will come again and again. And then you organize lecture, you organize katha, seminar, whatever. Then people will get the benefit. They will get the understanding, the importance of the chanting of the holy name. They become devotee. Okay, that's my response, Nagarjun Prabhu. Whether you're satisfied or not, be satisfied.
Yes, thank you so much.
Hare Krishna.
Uh,
Okay.
but uh, but this Sankirtana movement or chanting Hare Krishna is applicable to all yugas, Prabhu. Like it gives the same benefits.
Yeah,
Even in the people in the Satyuga can also do chanting and can get the benefit.
yeah. Thank you very much. Yes, actually, this chanting of Hare Krishna Maha Mantra is already there since Satya Yuga. If we read this small book, Kalisantarana Upanishad, there, like long, long time ago in Satya Yuga, this discussion between Lord Brahma and Narada. So Narada Muni was asking, you how people can attain the perfection, especially in the age of Kali. So this Hare Krishna mantra. Iti sudasakam nanam kali kalmasanasanam. Nata parataropayam sarva vedeshu drishyati. Brahma said to Narada that sarva vedeshu drishyati. After seeing all the Vedas, there is only one conclusion by which one can attain the perfection very easily. And that is the chanting of the holy name. Iti sudasakam namam. Sad means 8. Dasa means 10. So 8 plus 10, sorry, sad means 6. Sorry, sad means 6. And then dasa mean 10. So 6 plus 10 mean uh, 16. So this Hare Krishna mantra consists of 16 words. Yeah. So but that's meant only for Kali Yuga. But even then, also in Satya Yuga, people already chanting this holy name, but not as loud as now. So I heard one lecture from one of the senior devotees here. He said that in Satya Yuga, people also chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, but very secretly. So the guru, when at the time of initiation, this is the process. At the time of initiation, the guru will give this Hare Krishna Maha Mantra and tell the guru will tell this the disciple, you chant this Hare Krishna this mantra. Okay, now I will spell out the mantra into your ear only. And what is that mantra? Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Don't chant this mantra loudly. And this mantra can deliver your very life from material world. So this is very secret. Don't tell it. It is secret. It's only for you because you are initiated by me. So like that. So yeah, in the previous yugas, people are also chanting the holy name, but not as loud as now in Kali Yuga, because this is Iron Age. Iron Age, we have to use uh, big hammer. If you see the blacksmith, they are using big hammer to bang the iron, to bend it, to bang, 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 bang like this. So the holy name should be chanted loudly now in the age of Kali Yuga. Okay, that's it. And then, upon introducing the Dhyana Yoga in the last part of fifth chapter, now Krishna continue to the sixth chapter to have some more elaborate discussion on Dhyana Yoga. The first 5 chapters, Krishna has explained Buddhi Yoga, working with one's consciousness fixed on Him and without further desires. The Lord has also explained Sankhya, Karma Yoga, and Jnana Yoga as processes to obtain liberation and as stepping stones to Krishna consciousness. So 1 to 9, text 1 to 9, we'll discuss about Yoga Rurukshu and Yoga Rudha practice. So just for your gist, Yoga Rurukshu refers to the Ashtanga Yoga process. That means the beginning step of yoga, that is called Yoga Rurukshu, and that consists of the Ashtanga Yoga. And Yoga Rudra means the perfectional stage of yoga. Therefore, here we will see the process of meditation will be explained by Krishna to Arjuna, that you have to go to a very lonely place, sit there alone with your back straight, with your eyes just seeing on the tip of your nose, things like this. Shuchao, they say, sacred place. The place should not be too high, too low. And that is called Yoga Rurukshu, the beginning step of the yoga practice. But then Yoga Rudha, later, ultimately, will be concluded at the end of this chapter by mentioning what is the topmost yoga, who is the topmost yogi. That's the perfection of yoga practice. Yogi Namapi Sarvesvam. So that's it. At the end of chapter 5 and continuing into chapter 6, Krishna explained Dhyana Yoga, concluding that he is the goal of meditation. Even in Ashtanga Yoga, Karma Yoga is necessary in the beginning stages. When one becomes accomplished in the practice of meditation, he ceases all disturbing mental activities and comes to the stage of Yoga Rudha. Text number 1, the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, one who is unattached to the fruits of his work and who works as he is obligated is in the renowned order of life, and he is the true mystic, not he who lights no fire and perform no duty. So here, Krishna again referring to the Niskama Karma Yoga. That means performing bhakti without being attached to the result. That's the true yogi actually. The true yogi will do some activities and not attach with the result. It is not that, as Krishna mentioned here, not he who lights no fire and perform no duty. So, not avoiding the activities. So, the perfection of yoga means when we still doing some activities without being attached to the result. That is a true mystic here. That means you are a sannyas actually, renouncer of life. Krishna mentioned here that the principle of a sannyasi is that being detached, not detached of uh, doing something, but detached from the result of doing something. In this chapter, the Lord explains that the process of the eightfold yoga system is a means to control the mind and senses. However, this is very difficult for people in general to perform, especially in the age of Kali. Although the eightfold yoga system is recommended in this chapter, the Lord emphasizes that the process of karma yoga or acting in Krishna consciousness is better. We have discussed this. Here, lights, no fire. This is from the Sairendra Anthony. The phrase lights, no fire refers to brahmanas. One of the prescribed duties of the Brahmana Varna is to perform a daily Agnihotra, fire sacrifice. Krishna is again explaining that one who is unadvanced thing, I have knowledge, I don't have to perform my duty. Rather, an advanced soul perform his duties with detachment. Text number 2. What is called renunciation? You should know to be the same as yoga or linking oneself with the Supreme, O son of Pandu. For one can never become a yogi unless he renounces the desire for sense gratification. Mm. So here we get the gist. What is yoga means? What is yoga means? Yoga means linking oneself with the Supreme. That's yoga. Yuj. Yoga comes from the word yuj in Sanskrit. Yuj means to connect. So renunciation. Krishna here mentioned that it is impossible to become yogi if one is still attached with sense gratification. So the main idea of renunciation, first of all, to renounce the sense gratification, to renounce the uh, material sense gratification. Try to please material senses by material objects. Real sannyas yoga or bhakti means that one should know his constitutional position as the living entity and act accordingly. So first we have to understand we are not the matter, we are spirit. That means we are the soul, and we have to understand also what is the function of the soul in order to be appreciated. What is the function of something? For example, like uh, bike or a car, for example. Okay, we know that the function of the bike is, you can ride on it, you can reach your destination quicker. So that's the function of the car. When the function is done, you appreciate. Oh yeah, this bike is nice. This car is nice. So similarly, the spirit soul, also the living entity, when we understand what is our function, and then when we're functioning ourselves according to what already meant for as the spirit soul. That's why Srila Prabhupada here mentioned and act accordingly. So Swarupar Jivera Hoy Nitera Krishna Das. That means we understand we are the eternal servant of Krishna and act accordingly. Act accordingly means we have to act as Krishna's servant. That's it. Therefore, when one is in complete knowledge, one ceases all material sense gratification or renounces all kinds of sense gratificatory activities. This is practiced by the yogis who restrain the senses from material attachment. But a person in Krishna consciousness has no opportunity to engage his senses in anything which is not for the purpose of Krishna. Therefore, a Krishna conscious person is simultaneously a sannyasi and a yogi. You see, the yogis, they are trying, really hard just to control their mind, just to control their senses. But the devotees, we don't have separate effort to control our senses because by engaging the senses in Krishna's service, automatically the senses will be controlled. So that's the art actually. Therefore, Prabhupada mentioned here, a devotee is simultaneously a sannyasi and a yogi. A sannyasi means a renouncer. Yogi means one who fixed his mind on Krishna. So we are both. We renounce from material sense gratification, and at the same time we always think of Krishna. That uh, is our aspiration. Yeah. We know we now may not obtain this kind of consciousness, but that should be our aspiration at least. Text number 3. For one who is a neophyte in the eightfold yoga system, work is said to be the means, and for one who is already elevated in yoga, cessation of all material activities is said to be the means. Yeah. So if we analyze here, for the neophyte in the eightfold yoga system, that means the Ashtanga yoga, so work is to be the means. Work is said to be the means. That means they are striving so hard to control their senses. Yeah. But those who are already elevated, that means yoga rudha. So this is yoga rurukshu versus yoga rudha. So for those who are in the beginning level of yoga practice, so they work so hard to control their senses. But a person in Krishna consciousness who has obtained the yoga rudha level, that means the perfectional stage of yoga. What is the perfectional stage of yoga? When we engage ourselves in Krishna service, that's the perfectional stage of yoga. So cessation of all material activities is said to be the means. Yeah, automatically we stop all material activities. Everything will become spiritualized. So all activities will become spiritualized, no longer mundane. Well, we may look like the same like the mundane people, like we are working, we are earning some money, we are maintaining our family members. But that's actually completely different because we are keeping Krishna in the center. Okay, we are earning money, okay, because we want to support those who are in Krishna consciousness or Krishna consciousness preaching. And we are maintaining our family members because our family members are devotees and we are engaging them in Krishna service. So everything, all our activities will be spiritualized. That's why Krishna mentioned here cessation of all material activities is said to be the means because it is automatically done. Prabhupada, according to various elevation, different parts of the ladder are known by different names. You see the yoga ladder starting from karma yoga, karma kanda, karma yoga, and then jnana, and then buddhi yoga, and then Krishna consciousness. This karma yoga is also called buddhi yoga. So this is how the yoga ladder goes, from down goes to the top. And so there are many yogas. But all in all, the complete ladder is called yoga and may be divided into three parts, namely jnana, dhyana, and bhakti yoga. The beginning of the ladder is called Yoga Ruruksu stage, and the highest rank is called Yoga Rudha. So again, I'm mentioning Yoga Ruruksu means the eightfold yoga system. The Ashtanga yoga is called the beginning step of yoga because most of the thing done is gymnastically, okay, in Ashtanga yoga. But the highest rank is called Yoga Rudha. This is called devotional service, perfection in yoga. Therefore, the yoga ladder goes from karma and then niskama karma, jnana, sorry, karma, jnana, and then niskama karma, and then devotional service, buddhi yoga. Here also mentioned about dhyana, dhyana in the middle because meditation is just, you know, uh, base for devotional service. The base we start from meditation. Actually. Those who are practicing Ashtanga Yoga, dhyana is right before the samadhi. Dhyana, dharana, and samadhi. But for those who are in Krishna consciousness, we start from this. We are thinking about Krishna and then engage in Krishna consciousness. A Krishna conscious person, however, is situated from the beginning on the platform of meditation. Yeah, Prabhupada also mentioned here. Because he always thinks of Krishna and being constantly engaged in the service of Krishna, he is considered to have ceased all material activities. Always think of Krishna. This is the topmost principle. Actually, whatever we are doing, any activities that is meant to support us, by which we have to be able to think about Krishna. Smartavya satatam Vishnu vismartavyo na jatuchit sarve vidhi nishedasyo etayor eva kinkaraha. So this verse is actually from Padma Purana, which is quoted by Srila Rupa Goswami in his Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Yeah. Smartavya satatam Vishnu vismartavyo na jatuchit. So there are two rules. The first rule, smartavya satatam Vishnu. Somehow or other, always think about Krishna, think about Vishnu. And then second one is that vismartavyo na jatuchit, and never forget Krishna. So these are the two rules, very important rules. Always think about Krishna and never forget Krishna. It goes actually like a clockwise, go around. Because if you always think about Krishna, you will never forget about Krishna. Sarve vidhi nisedashur etayor eva kinkara. So sarve vidhi, all rules and regulation in the scripture, they are actually the servant. Etayor eva kinkara. Kinkara means the servant. All rules and regulation in the scriptures, all of them are the servant of these two main rules. Thinking, always thinking about Krishna and never forget about Krishna. So whatever, again I mentioned, whatever activities we are doing, it should help us, by which we can think about Krishna, to help us just to think about Krishna. Why we are chanting? Because we chant Krishna's name in order to remember him. Why we are doing this, why we get up for Mangalarati, why we are, cooking for Krishna. Because while cooking also, because we are dedicating that preparation for Krishna. So we are in full meditation of Krishna. So all activities meant to support us in order to be able to think about Krishna and never forget Krishna. The two stages of Ashtanga Yoga are Yoga Ruruksu, the beginning stage, and Yoga Rudra, the advanced stage. So advanced stage in Ashtanga Yoga is start from Dhyana and then Dharana and Samadhi, because they're involved thinking about Krishna. Text number 4. A person is said to be elevated in yoga when, having renounced all material desires, he neither acts for sense gratification nor engages in fruitive activities. A true yogi means he has no material desire. Yadi dasyasime kamam varam tvam varadarshava kamanam hridi asam roham bhavatastu brinevaram. This is the prayer of Prahlad Maharaj. When Prahlad Maharaj was asked by Lord Nrsimhadev, please tell me, I'm very pleased with your service. Please tell me, whatever you desire shall be fulfilled. Ask me any boon. So this was asked by Prahlad Maharaj. Yadi dasyasime kamam varam tvam varadar sabha kamanam hridi asam. May there is no material desire in my heart. That was his prayer. So a true yogi means one who is free from material desire. When a person is fully engaged in the transcendental loving service of Krishna, he is pleased in himself, and thus he is no longer engaged in sense gratification or in fruitive activities. Otherwise, one must be engaged in sense gratifications, since one cannot live without engagement. So there are two choices here, whether we are engaged in Krishna service or engaged in the service of Maya. Mm, engage in Krishna's service, the master of the senses, or engage in the service of our own senses. Das, go das. Go das means we are the servant of our own senses. That means we are enslaved by our senses. But when a person is fully engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Lord, so ultimately one is satisfied and find no taste for mundane activities. Find no taste for mundane activities. Visaya vinivartante nirahara shadehinah rasavarjam rasopyasya param drishtva nivartate. So param drishtva nivartate. He gets the higher taste of spiritual enjoyment. Just like song, for example. Yeah, before and after coming to Krishna consciousness. So before coming to Krishna consciousness, we may love to hear some mundane songs, about love mostly. Most of the songs about falling love and break their heart because of the separation. That's all the songs just about this thing, falling in love, oh yeah, da 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 da, or when they get separated, broken heart, da 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 da. But as soon as we join Krishna consciousness movement, we get no taste of such song because we fully absorbed in singing Krishna's glories, Vaisnava bhajan. Of course, mundane song, they are full of lamentation, praise, happiness, and lamentation, like emotion. But uh, in the Vaisnava bhajan also, most of the songs, they are also full of lamentation. But that lamentation is spiritual lamentation. Just like, what is that? Many songs actually. Ramachandra Sangamage Narottama Dasa, in the song of Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Daya Koro Moy. This song is full of lamentation actually. Ha Prabhu Nityananda Premananda Sukhi. Hey Nityananda Prabhu, you are full of prema, Krishna prema, Premananda Sukhi, and you are full of bliss. Ha Prabhu Nityananda Premananda Sukhi. Kripa baro kana koro ami boro duki. I am full of suffering. I'm ami boro duki. Full of miseries in my life. I'm so sad. Please give me a drop of your mercy. When we get that drop of mercy, I can attain Krishna Prema and be blissful, like how you dance while you are chanting the holy name of Krishna. So this is like spiritual lamentation. But yeah, of course, mundane song also, they full of lamentation. Our Vaishnava bhajan also full of lamentation. But their lamentation will lead them to hell. Our lamentation will lead us to Goloka Vrindavan. Prabhupada mentioned these people, these hippies, they love to dance. They dance in the club. Yeah, we also here in our temple, we are also dancing. But their dance will lead them to the hell. Our dance will lead us to Goloka Vrindavan. That's what Prabhupada mentioned. Okay, text number 5. One must deliver himself with the help of his mind and not degrade himself. The mind is the friend of the conditioned soul and his enemy as well. The next verse will be one of the famous verse, Bandhur Atmat Manastasya verse. The mind is the central point of yoga practice. Atma refers here to the mind. Yeah, Atma. This word, the Sanskrit word Atma, is very interesting. It has a lot of meanings, depend on its context. Atma sometimes refers to the body, Atma refers to the mind, Atma refers to the soul, and Atma refers to Krishna. So depending on its context. Yeah. So Atma here refers to the mind. The purpose of the yoga system is to control the mind and to draw it away from attachment to sense object. That's clear. Prabhupada's purpose. Yeah, this is the famous verse. When is our friend, when is our mind is friend and when is our mind is enemy? This is the answer. Bandhur atmat manastasya. Yenat maiwat manajitaha anat manastu satruve vate tatmaiva satruva. For him who has conquered the mind is the best friend. Yeah. Bandhur atmat manastasya yenat maiwat manajitaha. If we can control our mind will become the best friend. Because when we control our mind, that means we are able to direct our mind to think about Krishna. Satatam kirtayantum man mana bhavamat bhakti. Thinking about Krishna. Savai mana Krishna padara vindayo. Absorb our mind at Krishna's lotus feet. So that means our mind is our best friend because when we are able to engage the mind in the service of the Lord, the mind will deliver us from material existence. So in that sense, mind is the friend. But Satru way, the mind can be our enemy when we cannot control the mind. Uh, but for one who has failed to do so, his mind will remain the greatest enemy. Because when the mind demands material enjoyment and we fail to control it, so we try to fulfill that dictation because the senses, that's how it works. All other senses will work first when the mind dictated. When the mind dictates, so please, uh, the tongue wanted to taste something. So the mind give the instruction to the tongue. The leg will go to a certain place. So the mind will give the dictation, the order to the leg. But when the mind desire material enjoyment and we fail to control the mind, we try to fulfill it, then the mind, the same mind will degrade us into more entanglement in this material world. So in that sense, the mind is the greatest enemy. The purpose of practicing Eightfold Yoga is to control the mind in order to make it a friend and discharging the human mission. What is the human mission? The human mission is to understand about Dharma. Ahad nidra bhaya maitunam cha samanya etat pasubir naranam dharmo hite sammadiko visheso dharme nahina pasubi narana. So dharme nahina pasubi narana. If after getting the human form of life, one still cannot understand what is dharma, this dharma, dharmena hina, pasubi narana. He is as good as animal. He is considered to be as good as animal. Pashu, Dvipada Pashu, two-legged animals. So a person who doesn't understand about dharma, that means he's as good as animal because Prabhupada many times in his lectures he mentioned that this Krishna consciousness movement is not meant for the cats and the dogs because Prabhupada said if you ask the cats and dogs to chant Hare Krishna, they will not chant. Human, human, they will chant because they have higher consciousness. So this Krishna consciousness movement is meant for the human. But after getting the offer, the human rejects Krishna consciousness movement. That means he's as good as the animals. That's it. Text number 7. For one who has conquered the mind, the super soul is already reached, for he has attained tranquility. To such a man, happiness and distress, heat and cold, honor and dishonor are all the same. See, are all the same. Honor, dishonor. Yam hina vyatayanti te Purusham Purushar Shava Samadhuka Sukam Dhiram Soamritatvaya Kalpate. Second chapter, Krishna mentioned that. Samadhuka Sukam Dhiram. When one is equally disposes towards sukha and dukkha, happiness and distress. So Amritatvaya Kalpate. He is eligible for liberation. Yeah. Therefore, Krishna mentioned here, one who has conquered his mind, super soul already reached, he attained tranquility. So, having this perception that, oh yeah, it's just temporary things, material distress, material happiness, these are temporary. So, what should be done? What is that verse? Tamstitiksa swabharata. Just try to tolerate. Just try to tolerate. Heat and cold. Oh yeah, day and night, heat, cold, honor, dishonor. All are the same. All are the same. When the mind is misled by the external illusory energy, one becomes entangled in these material activities. Therefore, as soon as one's mind is controlled through one of the yoga systems, one should be considered to have already reached the destination. Text number 8. A person is said to be established in self-realization and is called a yogi or mystic when he is fully satisfied by virtue of acquired knowledge and realization. Such a person is situated in the transcendence and is self-controlled. He sees everything, whether it be pebbles, stones, or gold, as the same. Yeah, it's the same. Of course, this level is not so easily to obtain, to be obtained, but gradually, actually, we have to develop this consciousness, especially when we see women. It's hard to see women as mother. You know, Chanakya Pandit said, "What is it? Matrivat paradareshu paradraveshu losravat atmavan sarvabhutesu yapashyate sapanditaha." Who is the real intelligent man? Who is the real Pandita? Matrivat Paradarishu. First, Chanakya Pandit mentioned, when one sees all women except one's wife to be a mother, when we see all Matajis, that's why in this con we call all women Mataji. Mataji means mother, and we don't call our wife as Mataji. So when we see every woman as mother except our wife, so that means one is very, very learned. And then Paradravesulostravat, when we see somebody's wealth uh, just like stone pebbles on the street, that's real intelligence. But when we see somebody's wealth as something valuable that we are wanting it, then trouble will come. But when we see somebody's wealth, okay, he has car, he has big house, so what? It's not my business. It's nothing for me. So when we have that mentality, that means we are really learned. And then the third one, Atmavan Sarvabhutesu. When we treat uh, all other living entities as how we treat ourselves, that means we don't want to hurt ourselves, right? So we don't hurt other living entities also. How we treat ourselves, that how we should treat other living entities also. Atmavan Sarvabhutesu. Ya Pashati Sapandika. That means he's really learned. The Bhagavad Gita, the Bhagavad Gita is the science of Krishna consciousness. No one can become Krishna conscious simply by mundane scholarship. So what is the qualification? To understand the Bhagavad Gita, Bhakto Sime Sakacheti Rahasyam Hietadu Tamam. So because this knowledge is Rahasya, it is confidential, and it can be understood only by becoming Krishna's devotee. Bhakto Sime. Bhaktya Mama Vijanati Yavanya Chashmita. Krishna also mentioned that later in the 18th chapter. That you can't be a pure devotee. You can't understand Krishna simply by having good brain. Nayam atma prayachanena labhyo na medhayana bahuna srutena, nor by studying the Vedic scripture for many years. Bahuna srutena. Nayam atma. You cannot understand me, Krishna said. You cannot understand Krishna simply by having good brains. If you don't have service attitude, you cannot understand Krishna. One must be fortunate enough to associate with a person who is in pure consciousness. A Krishna conscious person has realized knowledge by the grace of Krishna because he is satisfied with pure devotional service. By realized knowledge, one becomes perfect. Prabhupada mentioned here, one must be fortunate enough to associate with the devotee, because little association with the devotees, that will bring perfection in our life. Yeah. Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Sastre Hoy, Lava Matra, Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Siddhi Hoy. So, Lava Matra, uh, just a little moment, a slight moment associating with the devotees, will get the perfection in life. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada to that verse in Chaitanya Charitamrita, he just gives one line purport, one statement there. And the statement is that the word lava means 1/11th second. That means 1 second divided into 11. That is lava. That's it, Prabhupada's purport. That's it. Lava matra sadhu sangha. Sarva siddhi hoy. One will get the all perfection in life simply by slightly associating with the devotees. Okay, we are almost 2 hours. I'll finish on this verse, text number 9. A person is considered still further advanced when he regards honest well-wishers, affectionate benefactors, the neutral mediators, the envious, friends and enemies, pious, and the sinners, all with an equal mind. Of course, this is like very, very elevated consciousness. Even as devotees, we as devotees, sometimes when we see other devotees uh, do some mistake, immediately we become judgmental. Oh, he's bad guy. He's not good. Like that. That's how our mind acts upon us. But an advanced person, it is described here, like you see, like those who are envious, friends, enemies, pious, sinners, with the equal mind. That means you see only the spirit soul. This is actually the vision of the Uttamadhikari. The Uttamadhikari will see everybody is Krishna's devotee except myself. Therefore, they don't have big enthusiasm to preach, because for them everybody is devotee. They see the soul, the pure soul. But of course, as devotee also, as preacher especially, we have to be able to discriminate. We have to be able to discriminate, right, between who's envious, who's favorable, like this. So we have to avoid the association of those who are envious in nature. Yes, Prabhupada said, Yes, this is the sign of advancement because here in this material world, the calculation of friends and enemy, everything is in relationship with this body or sense gratification. But realization of God or absolute truth, there is no such material consideration. Yeah, friends and enemies in the material world, this is how it works. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. That's how it works in the material world. If you have enemy and then somebody else also, someone, his enemy also, that means he's my friend because we can join together to defeat this person. That's how it works. And Prabhupada explained it's just based on bodily relationship because ultimately me, I am the center. I get the benefit. This is how it works also. If you are rich, you are famous, many people would like to become your friends. This is natural because they will get the benefit also, materially speaking. Another point is that here all conditioned souls they are under illusion. Suppose a doctor goes to a patient. He is under convulsion. He is talking nonsense. That does not mean he will refuse to treat him. He treats him as a friend, although the patient calls him by ill name, bad names, still he give him medicine. Like a doctor will treat whether uh, good man, bad man, if he get disease, so that actually the ethic of the doctor that they will treat whoever those who are approaching him asking for medicine, he will give medicine. Okay, that's the end of today's class. We have about 10 minutes, so I will not go further because we will go just half of the topic and I don't like it. So next week we can have more discussion from text number 10 to 27. Yeah, whether any question or comments before I close our today's class. Hare Krishna. If there is no, thank you very much to all of you. Panchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. So for your information, the first batch of the Bhakti Sastri, English Bhakti Sastri, will be finishing the Bhagavad Gita next week. And after that, they will have the closed book assessment. And meanwhile, we try to finish up the sixth chapter of Bhagavad Gita within 2 weeks. And after that, all of you will join with more devotees in the first batch. Not many devotees, but still better. Okay, Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Jai Shri Prabhupada.